very first shoot as a model just before my 19th birthday. So just before my 19th birthday, I ran into a friend of my sister's who suggested he needed a model for a magazine shoot that he was doing the following week. So he asked me if I would jump in if he needed a filler. I agreed, and they did need the filler, so I went in and I was in a UK magazine. And I didn't see this for a few years. I knew that I was in a magazine. I knew obviously what the gist of it was. Obviously I had modeled it. It was a like fashion / wrestling type photo shoot. So a couple months after that, I got recommended an agency by my sister, and so I went out and spoke with him and did some trial runs. He said the one thing, he said I had a good look and everything like that. The one thing he was concerned about was my Tourette syndrome, because throughout our meeting I was twitching a lot, and he was slightly concerned that clients would be worried about doing like overtime and double takes because of my twitching. And so he invited me back for a trial run, and when I got in front of the camera I never twitched. My Tourette's just went away, and this has been a thing for me ever since I started acting. And it's a thing, if you look into it, a lot of people with Tourette syndrome sort of subconsciously turn it off when they're doing skills, whether they're dancing, playing guitar, or acting or modeling. And in fact, I had met another model who had Tourette syndrome, and we discussed it. We had talked about what our individual twitches were, what our vocal twitches were, and he had asked me if I found that the twitching turned off when I went on the runway, when I went in front of the camera. I said yes, and of course he felt the same. So my agent did the trial run, found it, that my Tourette's was not going to be a problem in front of the camera, and he had mentioned to me that he would just tell clients Grant will be twitching, just, beforehand, after, just let it out, and then in front of the camera will be no problem. And then I found out later that he just wasn't even bringing that up to clients. It was not even a bother throughout it all. So there's no glory moment to say I had this severe Tourette syndrome and overcame it. Truly, Tourette's has never affected my career. But just like that, I was signed. I was 19 years old. I believe I was signed in April or May. Right before, it would have been just before my 19th birthday, maybe just after. And I was signed, and again, we have the very first trial photo that I took with my agent, so I'm sure Haley might put that in the video as well. But from there, interesting enough, there was another agency that I had gone to prior, and talked to them, and I was a very skinny guy. I still am, especially as modeling body types are concerned. But back then, I really had no muscle, and these guys were, they were hiring the top models, the guys with big arms and pecs and six packs and whatnot. So I had spoken to him, and he said, yeah, we like your look, it'll be great, but just, go get some more muscle on your bones, and then come back. And then after a few weeks, I had ended up getting a personal trainer, and after a few weeks, I put on a lot more muscle. I ended up going to my agent that I ended up signing with. I spoke to him. I said, I've got a personal trainer. I'm trying to get more muscle. I know that that's a big deal. And he was signed with him, I got a call back from the other agency saying, like, hey Grant, like, how's the muscle building going? I said, oh, it's going really good. I've already seen a huge improvement. They said, that's amazing. Maybe we can bring you in. We can rediscuss signing. And I went, oh, well, you know, I already just signed with this other agency. No words or anything. Just hung up right on there. So I think I kind of burned that bridge. I don't know. That was kind of a little funny thing, but there I was. I was signed. I wouldn't really have any advice as far as like getting into modeling. I would just say if modeling was your thing, outside of going to where it is prominent, in Canada, I mean you can do, like, I think Victoria has a lot of media. I don't know about now, or I say Victoria, I kind of more mean Vancouver, but I don't know if that's still the best place for media, whether it be acting, whether it be modeling, whether it be anything. I won't speak to that. I know Toronto is very high in all of that. I mean, like, just like off the top of my head, I can come up with like 10 agencies just, you know, like around my area, let alone there's so many agencies in Toronto. So I would say if you're in anywhere that there's a high volume of that stuff, like I came from Alberta, and although there's nothing, there are agencies there and there are successful models in Alberta. It's not really like the place to be, especially starting out, or, you know, especially if you want it as a side gig or somewhere where you can build and not somewhere where you're like, you know, maybe you're lucky, maybe, you know, certain things work out for you. But if you had the chance to start your modeling career in Toronto or Alberta or Saskatchewan, or I would just say go to Toronto. And that's Canada. Obviously, if you're anywhere else, I truly can't speak to that. I know America has LA, it has New York, but again, I don't know what the market is like in America to say where to go, but find out where there's a market and be there, have access to that, would be my number one tip. And then from there, reach out to agencies. An agency will tell you what they require, what they are looking for, what you can do. They'll definitely paint you a path, whether it's build more muscle. I think the important thing to understand that in the modeling business, it is really about selling a product, and you as a model are selling a product. I think if you have a problem with being, or like being asked to be a specific way to sell a product, if even suggesting that or asking you that is an issue, then maybe, you know, the modeling industry isn't really an industry that you appreciate in the first place, because it really is that. It's kind of why I got out of it. I didn't feel very insecure or mistreated, but I certainly felt like a pawn. Like, I certainly felt replaceable, and that, like, I always had a very good personality, and I always had a very good time interacting with the clients, and then they would say, okay, now take off your shirt, and that guy over there was 210, 8-pack, everything, and I wasn't, and that was it. I was done, I was out, I was replaced. I even knew a girl from my agency who was actually 5'6", which is quite short for a model, so people might think that as soon as you're a certain height, you won't get hired. Just go around different agencies, and if you feel you have what it takes, or if you feel it's something you want to do regardless, you can meet a lot of independent photographers, and learn the trade, learn what looks good, learn how to sell the product you're given. One of the things that was very easy for me in the beginning of my career is I was asked to come over to my agency and practice my model walk, and he had booked like 3 hours. He said, come over, you're going to be here from 10 to 1. We're just going to be doing your modeling walk. And I was done in like 20 minutes because I don't know, I was bullied a lot. I'm trying to get into like a sob story, and quite frankly, my bullying was never, it was not the worst bully story that many people have told me their bullying stories, and I really can't compare. I never really had it truly bad, but it was more so words. A lot of people would just approach me in ways that like I didn't want to be approached, and so I kind of built up this high-chested walk, and it was an aggressive walk, so that people would just kind of get out of my way and leave me alone. It was sort of like I was trying to do like an intimidation factor, and that's kind of how I built my walk over a couple of years, and then I started modeling, and I had to do a model walk, and lo and behold, short of a few adjustments, my intimidating walk was actually a good modeling walk. Admittedly, I don't have a huge portfolio. I don't have the greatest career, despite it only being 2 years. Even in those 2 years, I don't have the greatest track record as far as modeling goes. But like, so I didn't really always learn how to sell the product very well, and I wasn't by any standards a fantastic model. I could photograph pretty well, and by my mom's standards, I was a great model. I'd always look good and stuff, but in general in the business, I didn't really know what to do. But one trick that I did pick up early on was how to make your jawline look really good. So if you're looking to do photos, and I don't know if I could do it in this camera very well, but if you are going to try out to be a model with an agency, and they say, okay, let's take some pictures, it might help you to know what you're doing, and then they'll be impressed even if there's certain things to fix or work on. If you know some of the basics, or if you can take a good photo, then they know that there's out there you can take a good photo. Like bringing your chin out and down, getting like a certain angle as opposed to like this. You would have that. And then the other thing was, if you swallow, there's a point where your tongue will force itself upon the roof of your mouth, and when you hit that, you hold that. That is what gives definition. And if you start out as a model, you'll be hearing that a lot. Chin out, forward, looking down. That's how you can clench your jaw and make your jaw look good. So when you hold the tongue to the roof of the mouth, and so from there, I just worked with a few different photographers, built up a profile, got a bunch of different looks. There's some where I'm in like a full leather outfit with my hair slicked back and glasses. There's one where I'm in a nice denim button up, or like a turtleneck, and looking sort of like quizzical. There's different suit shots that I've got, some classier, some rugged. In Singapore, I did a shoot where I had to have like a vest open with my shirt, and like the guy actually did a really good job to make it look like I had abs. So obviously I had very different that I worked with. I would work with Cian, which was like emo punk, or like spike stuff, and all black and leather boots and whatever, like very, very cool style. I would work with suits. I would work with nice vests, and there was a shoot that I did where I was in like a plaid jacket, like straight backwoods Canadian type of deal, and I was able to work with all these different looks because I had all these photos that proved to the designers that I could pull off. And that was the next step, was getting me all those shoots. And you'll find that if you work with an agency, that agency, specifically the agents, will probably have close contacts. There was a photographer that I worked with multiple times. He did every single one of the romance novel covers I was on. I believe, I don't want to misquote that, I believe he was part of all four of them. There may have been one that was somebody else. I would just hate for them to flash on and for him to know or see this or whatever and go, I didn't do that one. So I believe he did all of them. But I'd also done like a whole nother shoot with him outside of that, just simply because he was such a great contact with my agents, and my agent would send him out, and then I would meet him. Me and him got along really well, and so he would enjoy hiring me back. And so I've been on 5 different romance novels, as far as I know, because 4 of them I did the shoot for, and the 5th one, they actually took a photo from one of the 4 shoots and just put it on another cover, so I could be on who knows how many covers. I only know that I shot for 4. And then we found this 5th one. I've been in a lot of runway shows. Most specifically, Toronto Men's Fashion Week was like the one that I did constantly throughout the year. Worked for a lot of great designers, got a lot of great looks. A couple segments in like Vogue Online, Vogue Italia. It was really, really cool to be able to post that. And I actually was even able to be the face of Tom. Tom being Toronto Men's Fashion Week. So, as people would come, when I would go and get ready, and my mom was visiting, and she wanted to come see the runways I was in, and my mom comes in, and we go to the doors, and the 2 doors, on the 2 doors opening up to the public were 2 posters of me, so that felt really cool. And then I did go to Singapore, but I'll save that for later in the video. But I think the coolest thing that I did as a model, and this is where, if you ever heard people just like, oh, you gotta get lucky, or right place, right time, it's just one of those things where it doesn't matter how good of a model you are, it doesn't matter if you look like, when I was modeling, a big look was like the Chris Hemsworth, like the long blonde hair and whatever, and if you look like that, great, maybe you were getting a lot of work, maybe you were a great model, but you wouldn't really have been booked for this job that I got. And this job, I worked for MAC Cosmetics. They were releasing a Star Trek line. They were releasing a Star Trek line, and so they needed, it was in Florida, it was this big meeting of all these different MAC employees coming from all around to this convention, and they were kind of showing them all these different lines coming out different actresses and dancers that they hired to play different characters, but they needed a male model who looked somewhat like Leonard Nimoy to play Spock. And I remember like going into this audition, and there was a guy, just long braided hair, long beard, and there was like another guy, just like, none of these guys looked like me. None of these guys looked anything like Leonard Nimoy. Not that I'm like a spitting image, but certainly me over them. And so I went in, gave my best shot, and my agent called me a few days later and said that they're hiring like 17 models and one male model, and you got it, that's you. And again, I didn't really think, I was like, oh yeah, of course I was the best in the room. It was just I look like Leonard Nimoy. To an extent, I could pull off the look, and if there's a picture here, we'll cut out like any of the other girls, but I have a photo of just me as Spock, and we can put that in here, where after all said and done, you know, they made the eyebrows up here, they gave me the pointy ears. From there, it was just some foundation. Boom, I was Spock. So I went to the convention, and admittedly I didn't do anything. Admittedly, the whole weekend I was at the pool, hanging out in the sun in Florida, getting paid. And then the day of the convention, I just stood there as Spock and just doing this, looking like Spock. Three of the girls had monologues. One of the girls, a dancer, she had a dance, and then I think they would do like those four, and then people kind of look at me and go, okay, now what's Spock gonna do? And I just look like Spock. And they moved on to the next line that they were releasing. So I was Spock for that convention, and then after the convention, there was like this beauty school convention, where like literally all of these different makeup artists were coming to this convention to, you know, learn about different things. I don't know, I really wasn't like invested in it, so I can't tell you exactly. It's not really important to the story, but Mac was like, hey, we've got these makeup artists who are coming to this convention to do their makeup artist stuff. Let's capitalize on that. And they sent me and another girl, I say another girl, I'm a girl, me and a girl to go, me and another model to go and portray Spock and a character from Star Trek. Again, I just don't know the characters. But we, you know, as they would finish their convention and like come out, and it was like, oh, it's 20-minute break until the next one, they could come to our booth and they could ask the Mac girls about like the makeup and stuff like that. Meanwhile, I'm there looking like Spock. From there, I was then hired to be a part for 3 weekends. I was in 3 different malls, and one of the weekends was actually the Eaton Center in Toronto, which is like the biggest mall in Toronto. I'm pretty sure I could be totally making that up and blowing smoke in my own ass. If not, I did one out in like Scarborough, I did one in the Bay across from the Eaton Center, and I did one in the Eaton Center. So generally I did like some pretty big malls. It was really cool. But again, it was like an 11-hour day where people would come, and they had the whole setup. Like they had like the Enterprise, the ship from Star Trek, set up. And if you wanted to go get a free trial of the makeup, if you wanted to talk to a Mac expert about the makeup, you could. Meanwhile, me as Spock and the girls as the other characters are walking around interacting with people, so that I actually got to do improv and acting and like speak with people. Like oh man, like how does it feel to be in the Eaton Center? I'd be like, oh, this is a crazy planet. I don't understand whatever. Maybe it wasn't that great, but it was a lot of fun. So that was really cool. That was like the coolest job. Usually if I'm like telling people, if I'm like bragging about being done. I could always Google the romance novels I've done, but like I always slip in that I was Spock for MAC Cosmetics. That was really cool. That was throughout like a month and a half. So that was a very cool experience. And then one of the last things I did as a model was I got sent to Singapore. Throughout my modeling, throughout my being assigned to an agency, a big thing we were always trying to do was send me overseas somewhere. We tried Italy, we tried New York, and eventually got I got assigned a contract to go to Singapore. And Singapore was very cool. It was cool to have that experience. I was in a modeling house with like 8 other models, all from different. There were like there was a guy from Thailand. There was a girl from Germany. There was a girl from Sweden. And just like all very, very interesting people. And it was very cool to like see their different cultures. It was always very well known which room was the Canadians' room, because I went in August and the coldest temperature that Singapore had ever recorded was 26 degrees Celsius. I don't know what that is Fahrenheit, look it up. But it was extremely hot. I hit a point, I was doing a photo shoot where I had a shirt over a shirt with a jacket over it. And it was like 44 degrees, and I like almost passed out from heat stroke. So if you were at the modeling house and you passed by my room, you would just feel the freezing cold air conditioning coming underneath the door and hitting your ankles. So that was cool. I really only did, I did a few portfolio shoots, just for free, just to build up. I met a lot of great photographers, had a lot of fun, a lot of great experiences. Me and a few other models dressed up in like Baywatch uniforms, and I guess this office was going to do a Baywatch themed office party, and so we were going to each segment of the office and slow motion running with the Baywatch music throughout this whole office to promote this Baywatch themed office party. So that was cool. I did get hired to do Runway as well, but that ended up getting canceled, so I didn't do it, and that was the only time I worked in Singapore. So I went into massive debt in Singapore, and again, I never really got motivated to really work out all that much. I didn't have a bad body, but it was just more skinny than it was fit. Yeah, I didn't work a lot in Singapore. I went into a lot of debt, and I ended up just canceling my contract and coming home. And right at the end was when I started talking to Haley, and they, just before I was supposed to leave, they said, you know, we can actually probably get you into Seoul, South Korea. And I said no. I think I at that point I was done modeling. I was ready to move on. I came home from Singapore. I auditioned for a runway. I won't say who it was for. I won't say what happened, but it was a pretty negative experience auditioning for that runway. I was pretty taken aback by it, and my agent was actually pretty taken aback by it. My agent was taken pretty aback by it, but not, you know, for my case, but actually just for the case of all the models that he sent there. It was just unprofessional what happened there. And at that point I was kind of already, you know, getting that bad taste of the modeling. I was actually able to line it up that I would be able to work Monday to Friday, 9 to 5, and keep the same schedule as Haley, so that we were able to actually spend our time together. And if anyone is any familiar with a media job, whether it be modeling, acting, like anything like that, working Monday to Friday, 9 to 5, it kind of kills that job. You really want to work evenings and weekends, because Monday to Friday, 9 to 5 is when those castings are happening. Which is why you see people who are trying to get into those careers are bartenders and servers, where most of their money will be made during the nights, during the weekends, because then it just kills two birds with one stone. Get most of your money when you're going to get most of your money, and you don't have to take up any, you don't have to miss out on any castings during the day. So I ended up taking a job. Monday to Friday, 9 to 5, and spoke with my agent and decided it was best that I just wrap it up. So at 21 years old, I was now dating the girl I would eventually marry. I had a lot of cool stories under my belt. like okay money as far as like a side gig goes. Like, I definitely was not doing this full time. I definitely was not paying any bills with this. It was like going out money, maybe. But I haven't looked back. I'm happy with my experiences. I'm happy with the different shoots I did. I know I've gotten a few different things I didn't quite mention. Like, I had done some modeling for a makeup artist who needed me to come to the school, and that was a cool little shoot that I was able to do, and the makeup looked really good. I'm happy that I was a model, but I'm very happy to not be a model anymore. And now at 27 years old, it's not like a dead thing. It's not something I couldn't do, but it's I'm very happy that I moved towards a career and now have a career at this point. And that's me. I will never go after anybody who is still a model, is still an actor, that's something they want to do for the rest of their lives. Like, absolutely, I'm happy to step back, because again, at the end of the day, I don't think I was the greatest model. I don't think this was something that I could have done full time, that I could have been the best at, that I could have maybe if I work harder, but I didn't have the motivation or the deep love for the career. And essentially that's the big milestones of becoming a model, from my very first discovery photo shoot to the day that I decided to end it. So I hope that helped you, gave you some tips. If this is something you're interested in, if you're not interested at all and you just want to hear my story, I hope you kind of got an idea of my story. I really don't have any bad experiences from modeling. I had a lot of fun. I made a lot of friends. I made a lot of close contacts. And I'm really, really proud and excited about what I've done with it. But I think that goes for myself in a lot of my life. So I hope if you were just looking to fall asleep,